Folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. That's right, live, coming to you. I gotta turn on a light in here. There. Oh my gosh, then that shaded my hat shades. Anyways, good day, welcome, and as people are joining, just do me a quick favor, hit the like button. That's a little thumbs up if you would, and also please chat in with where you're from. Whoop, hold on. I got. Please chat in with where you're from. There it is. I gotta stop this. Bam, got it. Sorry, had that in the background. I always have it in the background so I can actually watch your comments on this screen, and I'm recording through my phone, so that's how that works. Really quickly, as people are coming in, want to thank my sponsor, MyPillow. That's right, Mike Lindell, election integrity warrior, true patriot, and you can get this lumberjack plaid travel pillow over there. It's my favorite. I take it elk hunting. I take it to the Boundary Waters. I love camping. I love getting out in the woods. And I never used to take a pillow because I just thought it was unmanly. I'm serious. But no, I like it. It's very lightweight. It packs down small. So I'm on with it. So folks, if you didn't know, right now going on in the House of Representatives, there is an impeachment taking place for Secretary Mayorkas. I have to actually. Oh, this is so hard for me, people, because your illustrious host, yes, that's me, Neil Johnson, actually got something wrong, and so now I got to come to you and tell you this, and it's hard. It's hard. I just don't quite know how to deal with this. But anyways, remember yesterday I did a video, and I was talking about the attorney of E. Jean Carroll being married to Rachel Levine, which she is. But it's this Rachel Levine. I found another piece. Somebody commented. I pinned that in the video. I don't ever want to be wrong. So there it is. She's married to this Rachel Levine, which is actually an activist. But actually, the story then made it bigger for me. This is what's fascinating. As I go through this, then it's like I find out that there's even more to this story than original. So it's actually a good thing. So this story, Rachel Levine's ex-wife, okay, suffered emotion from divorce that made her stop writing. So I find this fascinating. So when I was down in the and I'll get into the impeachment vote because it's going on right now, and Benny Thompson's talking, so I'm not going to bring it up because Benny Thompson, was the head of the J6 committee, okay, and yeah, he doesn't have anything good to say. Never has. Anyways, good to see y'all on. Again, please smash that like. And again, it's a different Rachel Levine. But here, I want to get to this real quick. The birthday of the dog that I adopted is the same date as my wedding date, wrote Rachel Levine's ex-wife. Now I have something else to celebrate. When I worked in the Twin Cities, I'd actually waited tables, so I lived up in. That's okay. I was wrong once. I saw that comment. Who was that? Rhonda. Thanks. Yeah, usually I say I was wrong. I thought I was wrong, and then but that's when I was wrong. No, but no, I'm wrong plenty. But this, when I moved down to the Twin Cities from Bemidji, Minnesota, I worked in a restaurant, and it was called the Oak Grill, and it was on the 12th floor of Dayton's in downtown Minneapolis. And the guy who trained me in was a guy by the name of Kurt. And as Kurt was training me in, I saw people kind of acting a little different. And I got to admit, I'm from Bemidji. Bemidji is a small town in northern Minnesota. And I'm thinking, boy, that guy seems a little off. And that guy seems a little off. And that gal seems a little, what would I say, butch. And I'm like, yeah, but nobody's really like that. I'm from small town America. And so after a couple of days of training me in, the guy is trying to talk me into going to a bar in downtown Minneapolis called the Gay 90s. So it turned out this guy was like some sort of a predator, and he would prey on any new young man who would come in there. But he had abandoned his wife and 2 kids for his dude, okay? So this stuff happens. Well, this is the same thing in the Rachel Levine situation. Rachel Levine, a once relatively little unknown healthcare bureaucrat in Pennsylvania who jumped to Assistant Secretary of Health under Joe Biden and more recently became the first female 4-star admiral of the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps, used to have a wife. Before donning the military uniform and long hair, Levine was known to the world as Richard. Richard Levine played high school football with future General Mark Milley. Oh, hey, somebody super chatted me, so I got to I'll get to that in just a second. And eventually went to medical school. In medical school, Richard began dating a woman named Martha Peasley. The two attained their medical degrees, married in 1988, and had 2 children named David and Dana, and lived relatively quiet lives as medical doctors and academics until they reached middle age. This ended in 2011 when Richard decided he was, in fact, a woman named Rachel, cursed to be born with the wrong chromosomes. From the beginning of what has become an impressive second act in life, Levine began to process transitioning from he to she. Okay. I saw you people are so funny, these comments. That time was apparently right, as Levine's children were adults and his wife was apparently working as a college professor and writer for Psychology Today, a pop science website. So then when Levine family children were grown, Richard would divorce Martha Peasley 2 years into the transition in 2013. After the divorce, Martha Peasley wrote about the emotion of her divorce from Richard becoming Rachel for a blog post published in Psychology Today. I got a notice the other day. I had not blogged for 90 days. 90 days, really? Had it been that long? 90 days is how long we had to wait before our divorce would become final. Soon after the couple's divorce, she wrote, we ended up waiting a few more days after the paperwork went through, but that's when I thought about what I thought about when I got the email. 90 days, an end of a marriage. So can you imagine the psychological trauma of your husband turning into, well, I mean, how do you even say this right, people? But anyways, transitioning and then, liking dudes, I guess. I mean, I don't understand all this, people. I mean, I'm sorry. I just can't quite understand it all. But anyways, so it was a different Rachel Levine. If you're just joining, this is the Rachel Levine. I found this in Jackson Free Press. Okay. What's interesting about this article too, and I want to share something with you on that article, but I just want to make sure I get this correction out there. We'll get to the other news here, but since I really have to correct myself, I want to really pound this one home for you folks. Okay. It's a different Rachel Levine. And here, I got to get this super chat. I got to acknowledge that here. Here it is. $10 super chat. Did you see Ilhan Omar's speech about supporting and defending Somalia yesterday? I did see parts of that speech. Ilhan Omar, I live in Minnesota. I don't even know what to say about Ilhan Omar. So other than she should be over in Somalia running for office over there, because she obviously cares more about that than anything else. All right, so now I want to bring you back to, is Benny Thompson still talking at the hearing? You got to be kidding me. Benny Thompson is still talking at the impeachment hearing for Mayorkas. But Mayorkas is getting impeached today. And he's talking about how Republicans aren't serious and, if they would work with Joe Biden. Really? Come on. Well, what does Joe Biden doesn't need any more authority to change the situation in the border than what he has. If Joe Biden was serious and wanted to change the border, that could be done right now. Right now. That border situation could be changed. I just screen grabbed a video of Joe Biden signing 3 executive orders. Thank you. It's so Biden. I saw that. But 3 executive orders. 3. After he took office. This is so hard to even mentally process what's going on in the nation right now. But anyways, he signed 3 executive orders. All of them were designed to eliminate Trump's policies, which had worked to secure our border, and then stop construction of the border wall, even though all the materials were there, sold the materials at a bargain basement sale. Some contractor really scored there. Okay. And Benny Thompson's in there, arguing against impeachment because Alejandro Mayorkas is an honorable man doing the right thing, and Republicans are unserious about the border. I will say that Republicans up till now have been unserious about the border. Okay, the Senate is weak and will probably ruin this. I saw that comment. The Senate is weak and will pass some sort of bipartisan deal. Okay, but that doesn't matter because it still has to get through the House of Representatives, people. Okay. So the House does not have to. Mike Johnson has said, and hold his feet to the fire. Okay, let's hear what Benny Thompson's saying.
Reaching a bipartisan border deal. It's not too late to work with them to get the bill signed into law. I urge my colleagues to honor their oath to the Constitution and drop this sham impeachment, and to give my colleagues a chance to rethink this political stunt. Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee do now adjourn.
Yeah, committee's not going to be adjourned, Benny.
The gentleman's motion is privileged and non-debatable. The question is now occurs on the gentleman's motion. All in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. No. In opinion of the chair, the noes have it, and the motion is not agreed to. A recorded vote is requested.
A recorded vote. See, Benny can't even accept the fact that he just lost the vote on adjourning. Okay, so it's going down. Mayorkas is getting impeached right now. It's going to happen. You know, it's going to go to the, well, actually what will happen is the articles of impeachment be adopted, I believe, and then it's going to go to the full floor vote, okay? But here, I'm going to turn this off. They're just recording the the vote right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she wants Mayorkas impeached since she introduced articles a while ago. So yes, again, no, they don't want to adjourn. This is a great moment. People, I want to give you an idea of just how historic this moment is. I think, let me just double check this. I want to get you the right facts. I believe it's 140 years since Mayorkas. Let me see here. I believe it's 140 years. Does anybody else know on this? I think it's been 140 years since a civil servant has been impeached. I want to say 140 years. No, 150 years. It would be the first impeachment of a cabinet official in nearly 150 years. 150 years. Hey, thanks. I saw the comment for the algorithm. You people are great. I've got a great audience. By the way, if you're new, please do subscribe. But the vote is going on right now to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. While that's going on, and when we get to the next thing, I wanna toss this out. I told my friends in New Hampshire I would. Okay, so this, in fact, I'm going to share it in the chat here. Let me see. So this is something that, sorry about all the ums here. I'm just trying to keep up with this and this and this. I need a producer, folks. But there, I'll share it again. So this you could do in your state. So right now, there is a petition to remove the machines, that's the voting machines, in the state of New Hampshire, okay? And I shared the link. You can go to Frank's speech, /content/New Hampshire machine petition. But action for New Hampshire. So the instructions to the voters: you must be a registered voter in that town. You will print and sign the jot form. You take an image and email it to action4nh@gmail.com. This will reach an admin who will coordinate the package for the towns. Hard copy mailed to administrator John Goff, and so on. So if you want to do this, if you're in New Hampshire, and I would encourage you in your state, there's how many counties right now in the nation have removed voting machines from those counties? Okay, there's a significant number of them that have gone through with this, and this is all happening behind the scenes. The mainstream media is not reporting this, but they want the machines removed, and there's a petition going on for that. Again, you have to sign the petition, you have to be signing a petition in your voting jurisdiction, okay? So I'll share it again. But if you're in New Hampshire, but I encourage everybody to check this out because this is a model you can use going forward for other cities as well. So let's see how the voice vote or the vote turned out.
For the resolution pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 11, all those in favor say aye.
No. Benny
You have to,
Benny Thompson's just crying. He's crying in his beer, folks.
Gentleman objected that the motion hadn't been made.
Oh, you didn't want a reading?
No. Somebody else will have to make that.
Okay, well, we're dispensed. What's that? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move to dispense with the reading.
Okay, the motion's been made to dispense with the reading.
Now, Mr. Chairman, the rules require that be in writing.
Benny's just doing a whole bunch of procedural nonsense now. Benny Thompson. He's
There
just
seems to be some parliamentary disagreement on whether or not that is required in writing.
seems to be parliamentary disagreement, folks.
Clause 1 of Rule 16.
It doesn't matter. So Benny Thompson, just an FYI, Benny Thompson is actually a real insurrectionist. I encourage you to look that
So,
up.
again, a privileged motion to dispense with the first reading of the resolution pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 11 has been made. All those in favor say aye.
No.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the first reading shall be dispensed with. Without objection, the
We ask
resolution
for
shall
a
be,
recorded vote.
a recorded vote has been requested. The clerk will call.
Again, it's just delay. Benny,
Mr. McCall.
Mayorkas is
McCall
getting
votes aye.
Miss.
Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye. Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop votes aye.
Everybody, they all look so bored with this because Benny just won't shut up, Bruce. And so it just doesn't matter. It's happening, Benny, whether you like it or not. The vote's going to take place. Alejandro Mayorkas. It is a clown show. It's just parliamentary nonsense. Let's just get on with the vote. So, gosh, this is ridiculous. So somebody said, what does this mean he'll be removed? It has to move to a full vote. So I believe this is the process. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong out there, those of you who know. Right now, this is before committee.
Aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Ranking Member Thompson.
Look at
Nay.
Ranking Member Thompson votes no. Ms. Jackson Lee.
Look at him with his folded arms.
Jackson Lee votes no.
And Jackson Lee.
Mr. Payne votes no. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Correa.
No.
Mr. Correa votes no. Mr. Carter.
No.
Mr. Carter votes no. Mr. Tanadar.
No.
Mr. Tanadar votes no. Mr. Magaziner.
No.
Mr. Magaziner votes no. Mr. Ivy.
No.
Mr. Ivy.
This
votes
is
no.
so awesome, people. Okay, so once it gets out of committee, then it goes
Mr.
to
Garcia votes no.
a full
Mrs. Ramirez.
vote on the House floor. So this is committee still.
Menendez votes no.
And Eric Swalwell isn't even there to vote. What happened to Eric Swalwell? He's probably with Fang Fang. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. It's terrible. It's terrible. I know. I'm sorry. Let's see what's going on. Let's come back to the chairman, Green.
On that vote, Mr. Chairman, there were 18 ayes and 14 noes.
18 ayes and 14 noes. Benny, you
The ayes
lose
have it,
again.
And the reading of the resolution is dispensed with. And it is considered read and open to amendment at any point. I now recognize myself.
Mr. Chairman.
For what purposes, gentlemen, seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to include in the record
Hold on.
the text of Rule 1, Article 16, that members must reduce to writing any motion.
Without objection, so ordered.
This guy.
I now recognize myself for the purpose of offering an amendment. The gentleman,
Shut
for what
up,
purpose?
Benny.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Clause 3 of Rule 16, I raised a question of consideration.
Committee will suspend.
Gosh. Okay. We're going to just shut this down for just a second. I can't. I mean, Benny is just, do you see too how their aides are over their shoulders giving them new rules and all this kind of nonsense? Here, let's get on to some other news because this is going to take a while. I covered the New Hampshire thing. I shared that with you. I've got another story that's really wild. And I've been trying to validate this story. And I'm curious in the chat if you guys can help me validate this. But I've searched and searched. But the problem is, it's just like with that Rachel Levine story. It is so hard to find information regarding the divorce and the pain of the ex-spouse, but all these brave and beautiful articles are everywhere. So I looked all over for this, and all it would give me is 2-year-old results. But you can see Justin Trudeau, okay? Justin Trudeau says he has frozen the bank accounts of all judges who ruled against his decision to invoke the Emergency Measures Act, declaring it unconstitutional and abuse of power. He says this type of behavior is unacceptable and a threat to democracy. So a federal court had declared, if you guys weren't, the truckers' convoy was the most beautiful movement I have seen. What took place in Canada, I did a whole series of videos on that. If you go back to that time frame of the truckers' convoy, some of my favorite videos I ever did were from there. The bouncy house revolution, I was calling it. But the federal court in Canada had declared that Trudeau's use of emergency acts was not constitutional. It didn't abide by their Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And, that seems fairly obvious to any sane person. Super chat here from Craig Morning. What hurts the most is that probably half of these people know that all the BS sabotaging the will of the people. They're forced to play along. One of the things that's going on at the border is, oh gosh, they're taking another vote. Oh, this is getting old. And it's not the real vote again, you can tell. Oh, people, I'm sorry. I wanted to kind of share this thing live, but it's going to take forever. Benny Thompson can't hear.
Thompson votes no. Ms. Jackson Lee. No. Ms. Jackson Lee votes no. Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne.
They're just, it's all procedural votes. I just wanted to get to the vote. I wanted to share the vote with you people. But it's just pure garbage. Oh my gosh, that dude almost looks like Javier Milei's kid. That's funny. But he's a Democrat, so he's not. Benny is a criminal. Again, people, Benny Thompson is an insurrectionist. In fact, let me see if I can find this for you. For those who don't know about Benny Thompson's background. See, it's so hard because the web just wants to give you. Remember when Google used to actually be a good search engine? See, it's all puff pieces on Benny, and I'm not even searching for that. It's all Benny's history lessons, schooled mega. Okay, but this is not. God, I hate trying to find anything on the web. It used to be good. No, they're not actually voting.
Point of order against amendment in the nature of a substitute. Clause 7 of Rule 16 states that no motion or proposition on a subject different from that under consideration shall be admitted under color of amendment. During this committee's June 14, 2023 hearing, Mr. Chairman,
Gosh, Benny Thompson will not shut up. This, when are they actually going to vote? I mean, every vote that they've had so far is some procedural nonsense. Okay. But just understand this, just like the ayes and nays on all these procedures are 14-18. Actually, it's going to be a little bit better for the Dems if Eric Swalwell gets in there, but he's not in there right now. But it's going to pass out of this committee, and that's just what it is. But anyhow, Justin Trudeau, I can't find verification of this story about him freezing the bank accounts. It seems like a bridge too far, because I think then the judges would be they would just say, well, that's not going to happen. But things in Canada are weird. Justin Trudeau's a little dictator, a little tyrant. I actually think he's worse than Joe Biden. Okay. So you never know. Anyways, so, oh, hey, Minnesota is trending on X. Let me see. My state. Oh, let me see. I'll tell you what it is. Oh, yes. It's all about Ilhan Omar. They got the flashback to her ballot harvesting operation. Terrorists caught illegally crossing the border was allowed to roam free for nearly a year, memo says. Again, he was caught in Minnesota. Like, do you guys remember September 11th and where these, pilots were caught? And they attended flight school in Minnesota and so on? Yeah, Minnesota, it's a sad state of affairs up here. I mean, when you get in rural Minnesota, it is so conservative. It's so conservatives. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I thought we were going to actually get the vote. They were sitting there in committee, and it's just not happening. I don't know. Let's see if we are we voting on it? Hold on.
The clerk will call the roll on the motion to table.
Now it's a motion to table.
Mr. McCall.
It's,
Mr. McCall votes aye. Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins votes aye. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest votes aye.
motion to
Mr. Bishop.
table.
Aye.
Mr. Bishop votes aye.
It-
Mr. Jimenez. Aye. Mr.
Table what at this point? Anyways, because the Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these people who I'd expect to be voting no on a motion to table, it's probably a motion to table the nonsense that Benny Thompson just brought up. I don't know if they're tabling the actual vote itself.
Mr. Ezell votes aye. Mr. D'Esposito. Mr. D'Esposito votes aye. Ms. Lee.
There's Elijah Crane.
Mr. Strong votes aye. Mr. Burkeen. Mr. Burkeen votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye.
It can't be a motion to table the vote itself because otherwise,
No. Mr. Payne.
because these people don't want to table it. They're just going to go through a million votes here and not, when are we getting to the actual vote? I mean, just vote. I mean, all this procedural nonsense. This is why I could never be a congressperson. Are you serious? Is that what it's?
Bowman votes no.
I know what table
Mr.
means
Garcia.
as postpone,
Mr. Garcia votes no. Mrs. Ramirez.
but it's
Mr.
not.
Ramirez
I don't
votes
believe this
no.
would be
Mr.
tabling the
Menendez.
vote on the Mayorkas
Mr. Menendez
impeachment.
votes no.
Let's see.
Ms. Clark.
Let's find out.
Ms. Clark votes no. Ms. Titus. Ms. Titus votes no.
Table
How's the
Benny
chair
Thompson.
recorded?
Chair is not recorded.
Chair votes aye.
Chairman
Tally-
Green votes aye.
Okay, let's see.
Tally the report, the tally.
On that vote, Mr. Chairman, there were 18 ayes and 14 noes.
The tabling motion stands, and the motion is moved to the table. Without objection, the clerk will report the amendment in nature of a substitute.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.Res. 863 offered by Mr. Green of Tennessee.
Without objection, the reading is dispensed with. I now recognize myself to explain the amendment in nature of a substitute. This amendment is in the nature of a substitute, expands on the underlying resolution by including two articles of impeachment. Article 1 relates to Secretary Mayorkas' willful and systemic refusal to comply with the law, and Article 2 relates to his breach of public trust. The amendment in the nature of a substitute also includes updated figures regarding illegal border crossings and other statistics. With that, I yield. Is there any further discussion on the amendment in the nature of a substitute?
No.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Oh gosh.
Yes, you may.
No.
You're recognized for 5 minutes.
We're here based on two completely fabricated, unsupported, and never used before articles of impeachment.
Oh, not this guy.
This is completely debasing and demeaning the impeachment clause of the United States Constitution. And it is a gross, gross injustice to the credibility of this institution. In your opening statement, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Goldman.
you quoted James Madison as saying that the impeachment clause is designed to remove bad men in office. But notably, the impeachment clause is not designed to remove bad policy from the office. And the definition of bad men, as Professor Perlstein said, is an individual who abuses his power for personal gain. It has
Sounds like
never,
Biden.
There's never been an impeachment in the history of the United States where someone has been impeached for something other than the abuse of power for.
I'm sorry, I can't listen to Goldman. He's a nitwit. Here, let's see if the real vote comes down. For now, I'll just it's so ridiculous. I just can't. Here, I got something else for you. I got so many opens. Oh, by the way, what is up with conservatives going on and on about Taylor Swift? Can we just stop? Don't call any attention to Taylor Swift, please. Please. There's a great post too, clandestine. I'm going to read this to you. I had zero plans of addressing this because it's really dumb, but I've seen so many bad NFL/Taylor Swift takes that I have to set y'all straight. The NFL is not scripted. Kelsey and Swift's relationship is not fake. The NFL and TV networks have a financial interest in promoting Swift because she has massive influence and her fans belong to the demographics the NFL does not currently have. They're just trying to expand their audience, and Swift is an easy avenue to get more women to watch the NFL. However, the TV networks do love Swift because she is well-known. She's a well-known DNC advocate and Trump hater. If she was a Trump supporter, her screen time and media coverage would not be this high. Now, does a referee fixing happen? Well, yes, historically we have proof referees have fixed games for the mafia for money, etc. But for those of you saying that Patrick Mahomes hitting a step back fadeaway throw on 4th down into a tight window is part of a script, you're an idiot. He's right. Big Pharma, the NFL, the TV networks, and the DNC surely want the Chiefs to advance because it's more screen time for their brand ambassadors. But game rigging is a serious stretch. Anyone who actually watched the game knows this. And this is coming from me, a literal professional conspiracy theorist. This guy is, man. I mean, this is clandestine on Twitter, okay? You all saying stupid crap makes the serious people look bad. Stop it, okay? Yeah, I really don't care about Taylor Swift, okay? And I thought he made some great points there. I'm sure Goldman is talking. He had 5 minutes, people. I'm not going back to him. So we're going to look up. By the way, did you guys hear about the Nasser hospital raid? The Israeli soldiers went in disguised and went in there and took out 3 terrorists. It's pretty epic stuff, man. It's like watching a movie, okay? Breaking, Trump's lawyer says the defense recently discovered a connection between E. Jean Carroll's case and Carroll's lawyer, raising concerns, especially considering that one of Carroll's lead counsels had previously served as the judge law clerks, and it was previously known that the judge co-officiated her wedding. So Trump's attorneys are now doing, maybe they watched my video. Do you guys think maybe they watched my video? Maybe. I mean, I'm just going to take it because, yes, I was talking about the connections there between the judge and E. Jean Carroll's lawyer. Anyhow, no, I actually, it wasn't because of me, folks. So, oh, gosh. Yeah, Goldman's still rambling.
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy.
Is the least of it.
The least of
Your
it.
attack on the rule of law and our democracy.
Oh, God.
The worst of it.
I can't.
You better be careful about the bed that you make.
Gentleman yields, and I appreciate the gentleman keeping his remarks within the 5 minutes because the day is going to be long. I will not, we're not going to do the typical over 5 minutes if you're continuing a thought. So keep your comments to 5 minutes, please. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. I'd like to specifically talk about the Supreme Court's ruling, the United States
Here,
versus
let's
Texas.
listen to Mr. Green.
President Biden's appointed Solicitor General,
I'm gonna go
Elizabeth
full screen for you.
Prelogar, made a stunning claim asserting that no state, individual, or business has standing to challenge an administration's decision to, as a blanket matter, not enforce any particular law. When pressed by Justice Brett Kavanaugh if states and individuals were precluded from challenging this lack of enforcement, the president's own secretary or Solicitor General responded, "That is correct, but the framers intended political checks in the circumstances. Congress has tools at its disposal." Justice Kavanaugh responded, "I think your position is instead of judicial review, Congress has to resort to impeachment or dramatic steps in the face of such defiance of the laws passed by Congress." Prelogar's rejoinder was that in the face of dramatic abdication of statutory responsibility by the executive branch, such steps would be warranted. In other words, if the Biden administration's own legal position, it is the Biden administration's own legal position before the Supreme Court that impeachment is proper remedy for dramatic abdication of statutory responsibility. Meaning, if a secretary is not adhering to the laws passed by Congress, the only recourse, because the states now don't have standing, is for the Congress to impeach. That is the rulings of the Supreme Court and the argument brought forward by President Biden's own Solicitor General.
Will the gentleman yield on that point?
I'll finish and then you can be recognized, Mr. Ivey. I think it's pretty clear that in that Supreme Court ruling, the state wasn't given standing. Now, the Supreme Court did not rule on whether or not the gentleman, the secretary, was adhering to the laws or not. But the discussion was about what do you do when they're not? And the conclusion of the court in the majority opinion was, both by Alito and Kavanaugh, impeachment and actions of the Congress are the only place for recourse of a situation like that. That's why we're where we are today. We have a secretary who has, the law is very clear, shall detain. It doesn't say create policies to allow for people to immediately be released in the country. It says shall detain. And that was not done. In fact, systems were created to do just the opposite of that. That is a violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act. It's actually willful and systemic. And when courts ruled you can't do that, he just repackaged it and continued to do just that. And the Supreme Court agrees that the only recourse is for Congress to take action when a secretary, and I will use the Solicitor General's own words, dramatic abdication of statutory responsibility. I yield. I yield my 5 minutes, and whoever else wants to be recognized.
Recognition.
Mr. Ivey, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the comments you just made, I refer the chairman and the committee to the actual opinion that was written by Justice Kavanaugh, which is the one that has the force of law, not necessarily the discussion with the Solicitor General Prelogar. But on this particular point, the allegation that's being made in the articles of impeachment is that there's a willful defiance of enforcing the law.
Well, there is a
Justice
willful defiance of enforcing the
with
law.
respect to that point, wrote this: as the district court found, the executive branch does not possess the resources necessary to arrest or remove all of the non-citizens covered by these two statutes. That reality is not an anomaly.
He's talking about how now, that the federal government doesn't have the resources to, detain all these people and arrest them and everything. Well, that's fine. Let Texas do it. They seem to be up to the task. The citizens of Texas want these people. And then they're saying, well, you can't do that. You can't arrest these people. And people are drowning in the river. That happened before the incident. The whole thing is just a farce. Anyways, I can't. But this, obviously, the vote is not going to happen anytime soon, people. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss? Because this is just, I can't listen to these politicians ramble. God, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't look at any of these people like, wow, this is it. This is it. Okay. That's not, I just don't, I don't look at it that way. I just think politicians are politicians. I don't expect them to be anything other than politicians. Okay. So that's my take on it. And, they just are what they are. Here, I'm going to go down here. We're going to take this person and put them in a timeout. There you go. You don't need to keep reading. Can you fix those spots on your wall comments? It just comes across all the time. But maybe they should worry more about their own wall or their country, or I don't know. But the thing going on here is I can't listen to these people and take them seriously. Okay. Will the impeachment pass the Senate? No, but neither did Trump's impeachment pass the Senate. Okay. And what you need to understand, and the reason this is a big deal is it's just like I shared yesterday. Dan Bongino had a great clip. I shared that in a live stream the other day. But you have to master you have to master the soundbite, okay, and you have to master the PR game. And if Mayorkas is impeached, it says something. The first cabinet official in 150 years, okay, the first cabinet official in 150 years who is impeached, and so. Whether he's convicted in the Senate or not, we keep hearing how Donald Trump is impeached. Does this make sense to you guys? Again, it's not the level of seriousness of these politicians or anything. It's like people are saying, Greg Abbott and the border, and I get all that. And as much as I like seeing people shipped off to blue cities and seeing blue city mayors whine, what's really going on is we've got illegals infiltrating the whole country right now. That's a real thing. So we don't need to ship them across the state. We need to take those millions of dollars, create more enforcement on the border, and then the Biden Department of whatever. He's got every department fighting this because it's being fought by Department of Homeland Security. It's being fought through Border Patrol. It's being fought through, and the Border Patrol agents don't want this. But I'm just saying, master this moment, okay? Just master the moment. And whether or not the Senate impeaches, we know they won't. I mean, do you honestly think Mitch McConnell is going to vote for Alejandro Mayorkas to be impeached? No. I mean, do you think Kamala Harris would come in and cast the tie-breaking vote for it? No. It's just... We need to go forward with this. We need an impeachment vote out of the House so we can say Mayorkas was impeached. That's it. It's not anything else. So remember shade carpet. You people are here. Wait, somebody else is talking here. Is it going? I'll check.
With the American people. This is essential in a constitutional republic built
MTG
on
is speaking.
and separation of powers. In its 2023 ruling in United States versus Texas, the Supreme Court left the House of Representatives with little choice but to pursue impeachment articles against Secretary Mayorkas. The 5-4 majority did not address the Secretary's policies and mandates on the merits, but simply ruled the states did not have the standing to challenge them. Instead, the justices wrote that Congress has political tools available to push back on these policies. The only one that makes sense in the current political environment is impeachment. Remember, Democrats have completely rejected H.R. 2, our strongest security bill for our border. Secretary Mayorkas' actions and decisions clearly meet the standard necessary for initiating impeachment proceedings. This historical evidence is overwhelming that the founding fathers intended impeachment to be used to deal with the commission of indictable crimes and the abuse of power, corruption, and injury to the nation caused by public officials, among others. At the Constitutional Convention, the framers purposely devised the impeachment power to include any offenses against the nation's security committed by high officials. Stephen Bradbury, former principal deputy and acting assistant attorney general for the Office of Legal Counsel at the Department of Justice, there is a settled understanding beyond dispute that impeachable offenses include both prosecutable crimes and all manner of gross misconduct in office that does serious harm to the U.S. political system or the U.S. constitutional order. The actions, policies, and statements of Secretary Mayorkas easily meet that standard, and the American people completely agree, especially the witnesses that we've had before this committee, these parents who have had children murdered by fentanyl, murdered by illegal aliens, such as MS-13 crime gang members, and so much more. And I would tell you right now, the family of my two constituents that were killed in a horrific car accident by a 17-year-old cartel member smuggling illegal aliens into Texas would definitely agree with that. Secretary Mayorkas must be impeached for his failure to uphold his oath of office and for willfully breaking federal immigration laws. Mr. Chairman, I yield back my time.
Gentlelady yields. I now recognize Mr. Garcia for 5 minutes of comment on the amendment and the nature of the substitute.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we should certainly, I think, be embarrassed to be here today. This is a complete sham impeachment. I also would like to point out that the previous speaker on this committee has been spending a lot of her time actually fundraising off of this impeachment effort, and so the fact that she's posturing to taking it seriously, I think, is quite a joke as well. Now, we've in this Congress, which is the least productive that we've had, as we all know, since the 1930s, we've only passed 23 laws, and most of those of course, have been generally terrible laws. But when the
Look, this guy, we've only passed 23 laws. Yes. Do you people get the significance of that? Okay, this guy, Mr. Garcia, we've only passed 23 laws. It's the most unproductive. Praise God in heaven above. Dude, I don't want them passing any more laws. Okay? I mean, they could pass 0 laws. Okay? This is so great. Oh, pass 0 laws. The fewer laws, the better. When Congress is in session, that's when you need to be worried. Oh my gosh.
2020 to over 71,000 that December as he was leaving office. So the migration spike started under Donald Trump.
Okay. He talks about the migration spike starting under Donald Trump. Yes, as Donald Trump was leaving, there was a migration spike. Part of that was due to all the crazy COVID nonsense. And you know, I get into a whole host of things, but this vote is not going to take place for a long time. And it's all political theater. But, you know, again, the Senate may not follow through with this. In fact, they won't. But it doesn't matter. Master the soundbite, people. This is marketing at this point. We need to, you know, get this out. And people are saying, well, Donald Trump doesn't want to, you know, the Senate border bill because he's just trying to use it for politics. I don't care why he's using it. The Senate border bill sucks. Okay? We do not need to give more power to the executive branch. The executive branch needs to be stripped of power. Absolutely. 100% stripped of power. Somebody's behind this Garcia character and has a picture obviously turned backwards. So he's going to have some exhibit and I'm going to show it to you folks because it's just going to be stupid. I can just tell. Garcia's just rattling off his, okay, here it is. Here it is.
Donald Trump.
Will the gentleman yield?
There it is.
I want to remind the public that Donald Trump and House Republicans also have their own ideas for the border. So let's review the majority's border ideas that they've actually presented. Here they are. Donald Trump actually has said that he wants to build alligator moats along the border. That's one of his incredible ideas. Another idea that Donald Trump has promoted is he actually wants to electrify the border fence and maybe even put some spikes on the border. That's another Donald Trump and MAGA majority border idea. Another idea, which I'm not sure how well it would go, is he wants to actually bomb northern Mexico with missiles. That's another Trump idea. And finally, I think one of the ones that I think is the most grotesque is suggestions that instead we should maybe just shoot migrants in the legs.
Okay. Honestly, this is more of this stuff. This is like when they said that Donald Trump talked bad about veterans in the car, and nobody would back that story up. This is political theater, man. Actually, no, I'll Cat, whatever. These aren't great ideas in terms of, yeah, I mean, I'm not for, I don't blame the immigrants. I really don't. I've said this before. I blame the politicians for not coming up with effective solutions. I don't, I'm not, but having a wall, I tell you, if you had, I suppose, razor wire like the, they used at the Capitol to keep people out of the Capitol. It's somehow bad on the southern border. It just blows my mind.
Hitler said, and in fact, his imagery, the way he
Oh gosh, he's going on about how Trump is like Hitler. I just can't. This is going to be a long day, folks. I thought maybe we would get to a vote right away. It's not.
Donald Trump saying he is like Hitler.
I'm drawing an analogy that the rhetoric that Donald Trump uses is very much the rhetoric and the type of
He's
rhetoric
getting called out on it.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize Mr. Pfluger for 5 minutes of discussion.
So anyways, the alligators in a moat. Sharks with laser beams attached to their hands. Per honest. This is the kind of stuff, like, I don't think anybody wants to see a bunch of, migrants just getting shot. That's, come on. But, the fact is that if the fence was there, it had razor wire or was electric or whatever, people just wouldn't be climbing over it. Okay. Automated paintball turrets. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, I love you folks, but we're not getting to a vote. Sorry, I thought we would get there. Your comments are funny, but we'll just let her roll. Anyways, again, please check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack. Get some travel pillows, sheets, whatever. And we'll see you on the next episode. All right? Keep fighting the good fight. And understand that the migrant crisis is a real problem, that the border crisis is a big, big problem, and that people are dying from fentanyl, from these types of things. So they can sit there and talk about how alligators are so bad. Well, let's talk about the fact that fentanyl is bad, that cartels are bad, that child trafficking is bad. It's a shift game, and they try to take the most ludicrous, outlandish things and make that the central thesis of their argument. It's called a red herring. Anyways, okay. Love y'all. Peace out.